Hi, it's Katie and it's nap time. And for today's nap time vlog, I'm gonna do a tag. So this is a garden tag that my friend Alison from Alison In Mommyland and I put together. We had wanted to do a collaboration for a while and we were talking about doing a tag, like a garden tag. We both really like to garden and we thought it'd be fun to do a video together, but we couldn't find a garden tag on YouTube, which is weird because there's tags about everything on YouTube. So we each contributed some questions and we put together this tag, and it's 12 questions. And we're both uploading today. So when you are done with this video, make sure you check out her channel. I will link her video and her channel down in the description box so you can check out her video, check out her whole channel, subscribe, leave her a comment, and all of that great stuff. And if you have a garden and want to participate in this tag as well, feel free, it's open to anyone. Just copy and paste the questions I'll have down in the description box, including the link back to our channels, and paste that into your own description box. And then once your video is uploaded, leave a comment with the link to your video so I can check it out and everybody else can check it out as well. So there's 12 questions and a lot of them are multi-parters. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I have my laptop here. So question number 1 is, describe your garden. What zone or climate are you in? How much sun? How old is your garden? What type of garden is it, etc. My garden is just a regular backyard veggie garden, or sometimes called a salad garden, just random things. I have some raised beds, I have some things in the ground. The garden is, it's kind of a work in progress. So the oldest parts of it are about 7 years old. We put the first parts in the first spring that we had moved into this house, and then each year we add something new. So some things are older and some things are newer. I'm in zone 7. I can't ever remember if it's 7A or 7B, but we have cold freezing winters and hot humid summers, and our growing seasons anywhere from like the beginning of March to the end of October. That's usually when I grow. You can kind of fudge the beginning and the end if you have cold frames or a greenhouse or things like that, but I usually grow March to October. And as far as sun, my yard is north facing, so it gets pretty good sun. I do have one large oak tree that shades part of the garden, but I just put sort of heat sensitive things in that area, so it actually works out really nicely. Question number 2 is, what is your favorite thing to grow? So my favorite thing to grow is probably radishes or Swiss chard. I really love radishes because they're one of the first things you can plant in the cold part of spring still, and they come up really quickly, and it just really satisfies that need to get out in the garden after a long winter, and you get sort of like an immediate satisfaction when they grow as quickly as they do. And homegrown radishes are 10 times better than store-bought. I love them. They're tender and they're almost sweet. They still have a little bit of heat. So I love homemade or homegrown radishes. And then as far as Swiss chard, I love having Swiss chard and also kale and other greens, but especially Swiss chard in the garden. It just grows all summer long and it's just always there. It grows pretty quickly, so at least once a week I can run out there, harvest some and whip it up, just saute it with garlic and olive oil, and I have a veggie side dish that goes with pretty much every meal, and it takes like 10-15 minutes to whip up. So it's something I don't even need to worry about buying a vegetable for 1 day a week, because I can always pull something out of the garden. I can do it with kale too, but I find kale's a lot easier to find in the grocery store than Swiss chard. So if I had to choose one, it would be Swiss chard. Question number 3. Is there something you wish you could grow but cannot because of space, climate, cost, etc.? I would like to grow everything. I would love to try. I just like to experiment and try new things. My husband really likes to try new things. My garden is more practical. I grow things that I know that we're going to eat and that I need to cook, and things that will help us, with our grocery budget. And my husband just likes to grow fun, exotic things. So he's grown artichokes, he's grown the asparagus, he grows figs, things like that, whereas I grow peppers and tomatoes and lettuce and things like that. But I would, if I had the space and a better climate, I would be growing citrus trees and avocado trees, but the one thing that I probably would love to grow the most would be nut trees, just because the nuts are so nutritious, they're so expensive, and I think a nut tree produces for something like 25 or 30 years. So I've heard that when you buy property, one of the first improvements you should do to your property is plant a whole bunch of nut trees. So I don't know if nut trees grow around here. It's not something that I know of, like nut trees being popular around here, but something like pecan trees or walnut trees or almond trees would be awesome. Is there anything you regret planting? I didn't plant it, but I do have a large swath of mint in my yard. It was here when we moved in, and it wasn't fully taking over that whole bed at the time when we moved in. And we moved in August, so if it was there, we would have seen it. But it has just completely overtaken that bed. And I would love to have that bed for something else, especially something like strawberries. But there's not really much I can do. I'm not willing to rip it all out by hand. I'm not willing to dump a bunch of chemicals. So as long as it stays contained in that bed and doesn't encroach out onto the lawn too much, then I'm just letting it be. But I would love to have that bed for something else. And I do use mint. I like to cook with it. I like to make drinks with it. But I would definitely, if it was my choice, I would have it in a pot and have just a small amount of it, because I don't think I would use a fraction of what's out there. What is your biggest challenge in the garden? This is question number 5. So I have a lot of little annoyances. We do have critters that come through. We've had groundhogs and skunks and possums and rabbits and voles and birds and all sorts of critters come through. And we have part of our yard has poor drainage, so there's standing water. And our climate, we have a long period right in the middle of summer where it's usually a lot of drought. This year we're getting a lot of rain so far, so I think that's part of the reason why my garden is doing so well this year. But all those little things, the biggest challenge of my garden is the soil. We have very heavy red clay here, and that's the reason why we started with the raised beds. And then my husband has, his garden is sort of an in-ground garden, and he's had to till quite a bit into that. But even the above ground, the raised beds, it's just a constant struggle to keep them up, because we had to buy compost. We bought truckloads of compost to fill them up, and it just depletes so quickly since it's kind of all contained. And it's just a continuous effort to keep the soil in good condition. So if I live somewhere where the soil was awesome, like in the Midwest, they have really awesome soil, I would be in heaven, because the soil is a pain. It's hard as a rock when it's dry, and when it's wet, it's heavy, heavy, heavy. So it's really hard to dig in it and to till in it, and it's impossible for plants to grow in it most of the time. Number 6, do you use anything to protect your garden from critters? We have a fence just around our yard fence, but it doesn't keep the critters out, and it doesn't keep my dog in, so it's not a very good fence. And we have neighbors on all sides of us, and my house is situated between the 2 busiest roads in our neighborhood, but we have had an incredible amount of animals pass through here. We've had probably 10 different groundhog attacks, and skunks. We've had 2 or 3 skunks come through, and possums and bunnies, and all sorts of things come through. And except for the groundhogs, we haven't had too much damage from them. I don't necessarily do anything. I do have a dog, which I think helps, but those groundhogs were just too stupid to know better. And my dog's a little bit too stupid to catch the groundhogs. He did catch the skunk though and got sprayed, but we don't really do anything in particular. Our fence isn't like a tall fence. We don't have deer or anything around here. There are deer around here, but I haven't seen them in our yard. We've actually heard of them walking up and down the roads in this neighborhood, but not yet in our yard. Question number 7, how many plantings do you do each year? This is a really good question. I do 2, I try to do 3, but the third one never does well. So I do a spring garden where I do my cold tolerant plants, so I'll do lettuce, spinach, and greens. Sometimes I do peas and radishes, sometimes I do carrots or beets, and then when it gets a little bit warmer, I will do my summer garden. My summer garden is all the nightshades, so tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, hot peppers, okra, cucumbers, squash, and sort of those hot loving plants, heat loving plants. And then I would love to do a fall garden, but around here it stays hot and dry throughout, sometimes into September. And then by the time it cools down, the day length is so short that things just don't establish well enough to survive the shorter day lengths. So I've always tried to plant a second crop of peas or greens or lettuce or something like that, but it doesn't usually turn out well. I do will plant garlic and onions over the winter. That's not really a growing season for me because it's just those things I put out and I just ignore them till springtime. So it just depends on how you count it. 2, 3, 4 plantings I do a year. Question number 8. Do you use a greenhouse? Do you use it year-round or only in the winter? I would love to have a greenhouse. I do not. I have hoops on one of my bed, which I intended to make like a hoop house so that I could grow things in the colder months. My hoops are too small, and the material I got, some spun polyester to put over them, I don't think was the right thing. I need to get plastic sheeting, and I think I'm going to do that. I want to redo my beds and put hoops on more beds, and I want my hoops to be a little bit taller so that I can cover them. I would love to be able to grow lettuce in the very, very early parts of spring. That would be awesome. Question number 9. How do you manage the excess from your garden? Have you ever anonymously left a zucchini or other produce on your neighbor's porch? Yes, I have. Most of my neighbors around here have gotten something, and they usually know it's from me. But a lot of times I do ring the doorbell and run. And as far as the excesses, I give a lot of it away. I have really great neighbors around here. I also have a lot of family members that are within walking distance in the same neighborhood. So I can always find somebody who's willing to take some extra off my hands. Some things I will preserve. I freeze some things. Very, very seldom do I can. I will can acidic things, so tomato-based things or things that I've pickled. I haven't done more canning. I don't have a pressure canner, so I just have a water bath canner. And as far as freezing, it has to be something very valuable to take up the real estate in my freezer. So I'm not gonna put green beans in my freezer when I can just buy them at a store for 99 cents a pound. Whenever I need that freezer space for something more valuable that might come down the line, either a sale at a grocery store or something from the farmer's market. So I don't freeze a lot, I don't can a lot. And then I do dry some things, especially herbs. I will dry in my dehydrator or just leave them on the counter till they're dry. But most of what I grow, the excess that I grow, I just binge eat it. Like last year, if you watched my weekly meals, I think I had cucumbers in every meal for about 6 weeks straight. So I will just eat it all up because there's nothing better than homegrown food. And then what I can't eat, so that it doesn't go bad, I do give it to my friends and neighbors and family. Question number 10, I think I just answered that. How do you preserve your garden harvest for later use, and what's your favorite preservation method? Actually, my favorite preservation method is fermenting. It's a really great way to preserve vegetables, and it's really simple. And I haven't done a ton of it with my own produce just because I guess I don't grow the things that I normally ferment, but things like garlic and carrots, they ferment really nicely. I did try to ferment some of my cucumbers last year, and they're kind of picky, so they turn mushy really easily. So I didn't have good luck with that, but I would like to ferment more things. So I have considered growing things strictly for fermenting. Like I wanted to grow a whole year's worth of garlic last winter so that I'd have it all this year. It didn't turn out. My garlic did not do well, but. Question number 11, is there anything you grow primarily for storing and using later? I just don't have the space to do that, so no, not really. I would love to be able to grow onions and garlic and potatoes, but especially things like potatoes and onions, they're so cheap at the grocery store, they take a long time to grow, and in the meantime I could have grown lots of other things. So when I'm thinking about what I want to grow, a lot of times I grow things that are either really expensive or very delicate and don't travel well, or certain things that are just not good store-bought, like tomatoes, because they pick them green, they're not as good as vine-ripened tomatoes. And then if you do get really great produce in the grocery store, it's more expensive. So I'm not really willing to use the limited space I have for sort of those staple storage things. But my tomatoes are doing really awesome this year, so I might can those and have those and use those instead of canned tomatoes throughout the summer or through the winter months. That would be awesome. And then question number 12, is there any favorite gardening YouTubers you watch? I watch a lot of gardening YouTubers, and I always have. I've been actually watching YouTube since 2006, and I've learned a lot of things as I watch different YouTubers. So my favorite gardening YouTubers are The Produce Garden. He doesn't make videos anymore, but he has really great videos if you want to go back and check out his channel. Garden Fork has really great gardening videos. And then Web Cajun TV is his channel name. And then I think he's called the Bayou Gardener. I will put all of these links down below. He has an awesome, huge garden down in Louisiana, garden forks in New York, and produce gardeners in Australia. But I learned a ton of things from all of these YouTube gardeners, and then I watch a ton of just like backyard garden folks like me. And if you're watching this and you do garden videos, leave a link down below because I'd love to watch your channel and watch your garden grow. I love watching other people's garden is nearly as much fun as is watching my own garden grow. So that is the 12 questions for the gardening tag. Like I said, if you want to do this tag, feel free to pick it up. All the questions will be down below. And be sure to check out Alison's tag. Her link will be down below as well. And that's it. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.